So let us journey within. As you hear the soft, melodious tunes of the music, let it wash over your body. Bringing your awareness to your breath. Sensing the breath as it is exhaled. And with each inhalation, notice its warmth. Notice how it calms and relaxes you. And notice if there are any sensations within your body that is longing for your breath. I invite you to breathe into those places now. Breathing deep and slow. Breathing into the fullness of your being. Now bringing your awareness to your heart. If it feels right, place one or both of your hands over your heart space. As you sense your breath within your heart. Breathing deep and slow into your heart. Calling forth the fullness of your highest and greatest essence. It is the essence of love, the essence of light and life and wisdom. And that is the light of you. I invite you to get an image of your highest essence now. Perhaps it is you standing on a mountaintop, or the wind at your back with bold angel wings. That is you. That is the truth of you. And as you stand in the fullness of your essence, you embrace the sacred human. This journey that is all part of our divine unfolding. Sometimes in this human journey, we can experience heartache and pain and suffering. So in this place where you have called forth the highest essence of you, it is safe now to listen to the voice of I can't. I'm tired. I am lost. And allow your heart to fully embrace the sacred human and these experiences. And I invite you to call on the ancestors that you stand on the shoulders of, to join you as your divine essence right here and now. Perhaps it is a loved one who is beyond the veil. Or perhaps it is divine master like Jesus or Buddha or Mary Magdalene. Perhaps it is the light of the angelic realm. Notice that you are surrounded in the grace of all graces, the light of all light, the power of all power right here and now. And as you enter into the stillness, what does the voice of the wise heart and of your loving ancestors and masters want to say to inspire you and to heal and give comfort in this time when you feel I can't? So listen and be strengthened from within as you rest in the stillness. Oh, breathe deeply, my beloveds. Take respite in the love and the wisdom of your being. And take respite in the light and the power of your ancestors and the holy ones, knowing our oneness in this moment. Know that you are resilient in spirit, and as you breathe deep, you are lifted by the grace of the Holy Spirit alive within you. Sense that power and energy and grace. Sense the power of resiliency filling you as you know how mighty you are. Breathing in fully and deeply into your heart, giving gratitude and appreciation to all of the ancestors that you stand on the shoulders of all of the holy ones who come before you, who stand with you. Let us give thanks for the beauty of the expression of love of each member of this beautiful community. Know that your prayers, your love, your support matters. So let us take that deep breath in of appreciation. As we return to this time and this space, I invite you to lift your arms, if it feels right, above your shoulders and head, and to stretch and sense that power. And when you are ready, open your eyes. As you listen to the words of "I am so grateful."
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me, and I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude within.
So good morning and welcome. My name is Reverend Angela Denton, and if you are joining us for the first time, I welcome you. If you are returning again and again and again, I welcome you as well. So this morning, we are finding our way to almost to the end of our Revolutionary Love Compass. And the Revolutionary Love Compass is part of Valerie Kaur's work that she shares with us in her book, See No Stranger, a memoir and manifesto of revolutionary love. And so as we have been looking at what does it mean to love ourselves, we explored the times that we are called to breathe, not just the deep breaths of mindfulness, but also those periods of rest, of stillness, of play. And then we explored last week what it meant to push, to labor for love. And this week we are going to be exploring that when we are courageous to breathe and push, we can find ourselves in that place of transition. And so this morning I am going to be reading an excerpt from the chapter on transition found in See No Stranger. Now, for those of you who haven't been with us since the beginning of the series, and to refresh those of you who have been, Valerie shares in the beginning of the book that her uncle Balbar was killed a few days after the 9/11 attacks on our country. It was when there was an increase of hate crimes on our Muslim brother, sister, siblings, and on the Sikh community, which Valerie is a part of. So every year following the death of her uncle, on the anniversary of his death, Valerie, her family, her friends, and the Sikh community would journey to the gas station in Arizona where he was murdered, and they would hold ceremony. They would pray and meditate and sing and just love each other up. So this scene that I'm about to share, or this excerpt from the book that I'm about to share, occurred on the 15th anniversary of Uncle Balbar's death, and they were at the memorial together. So Roddy Sodhi, my uncle, the brother of my uncle who was murdered, had spent the last 15 years going to every church, high school auditorium, and journalist who would listen to his brother's story, calling for an end to hate and massacre in this country. He was tired. He looked at me and said, "Valerie, nothing has changed." And you know what? I couldn't argue with him. The labor for justice is long and hard. How do we keep breathing and pushing through it during those "I can't" moments? I summoned the memory of Uncle Balbar, and I realized that he was now an ancestor to us. I imagined him looking at us, calling forth our deepest bravery to keep on going. I turned to Rana Sodi and I said, "Who is the one person we have yet to love?" The next morning, we did what we had never done before. We wanted to change the narrative. We wanted something to feel different. And so we took a step. We made a push that I never thought we would ever make. We called Uncle Balbar's murderer in prison. Frank Roque is his name. Frank Roque had sat in a bar the night before his shooting rampage, saying, "I am going to go out and kill and shoot some towel heads. We should kill their children too, because they'll grow up to be just like their parents." When he was taken to trial, he never expressed any remorse for what he had done. Yet here we were, 15 years later, for the first time, after so much grieving and raging, we were ready to wonder about him, who he was, whether he felt any remorse. And so Rana replied, yes, when I asked him to join me in reaching out to him. It was a response born of 15 years of grieving and fighting and raging and breathing. And here he was ready to push. We heard Frank's voice on the phone. "Frank," I said. He said, "Yes." Then I said, "Why did you agree to talk with us?" Frank replied, "Well, I'm sorry for what happened to his brother," talking about Rana's brother, my uncle. "But I'm also sorry for what happened to the thousands of people on 9/11, the thousands of innocent people who died." In that moment, as I heard him refusing to take full responsibility for what he had done, I thought this was a mistake. And I began to feel this roaring rage inside of me. Another "I can't" moment. But perhaps because I was raging, it was as if I was protecting the space for Rana to keep wondering and keep listening when I couldn't. Revolutionary love is practiced in community, right? So here I was holding the space while Rana did the work of listening. Rana said something that shocked me. He said, "Frank, I am hearing you, and I am so thankful for what you are saying. This is the first time I'm hearing you say that you feel sorry." And then something changed, everything changed. Frank says, "Yes, I am sorry for what I did to your brother. And when I go to heaven to be judged by God, I will ask to see your brother, and I will hug him, and I will ask for his forgiveness." With a heartful, deep breath, Rana said, "We already forgave you." My friends, forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is freedom from hate. And as they kept talking, Rana and Frank, Roque, the murderer and the victim's brother, as I watched a new relationship begin to form, I felt that we were transitioning into something entirely new, something that I thought was impossible, and that we had to do this work of transitioning ourselves all this time to get to the point where we could be in relationship with him, reconcile with him. And once again, someone had to love us hard enough. A lot of people loved us hard enough for us to get to that point. In the meantime, there was enough people in that prison to love on Frank, to help him stand the heat and the shame of what he did, to help him process and grow, apologize, and get to the point where he could meet with us like that. Revolutionary love is powerful when practiced in community, and we all have a different role at any given time. Valerie Kaur shares with us that when the voice, "I can't," becomes loud within us, it usually occurs when we are faced with a challenging situation in our lives, where we believe that we are stuck in life, or perhaps we can see very few options, if any, to a difficult situation we find ourselves in. Or perhaps that "I can't" voice roars loudly when our heart's desires, we believe, are not coming into fruition as quickly as we hope that they would. And doubt and fear and frustration, resignation, anger, and oh yes, exhaustion can well overwhelm us when we are willing to be changed from the inside out. But it does become exhausting at times. But Valerie gives us hope. And she states that after you've been pushing for so long, which seems like an eternity, the "I can't" voice, that "I can't" voice is actually a sign that you are on the brink of transitioning to having a breakthrough in your life. And again, I just would like to be clear about pushing here, what Valerie means about pushing. It is not that pushing that we see in a Nike commercial that you just, ignore all signs of your body and you just, grit and you are driven and you try to get ahead in life and you don't care if you hurt other people. It is not that driven, grandiose kind of when we think of pushing. When she speaks of pushing, it is about doing the labor of love. And those labors of love are, again, being willing to go within, to have the courage to heal the wounds within us, to do the forgiveness work, the reconciliation work. And also pushing is also taking courageous action in our lives, where we step out of our comfort zone to be the light of who we are. And so we also have to remember that through this process of spiritual growth and unfoldment, of rising to new life and facing all of the human dramas and challenges that we face, we must remember to keep that breath of stillness, those periods of rest, and to know when to be in that place of stillness, and then to muster up that courage to push through the discomfort, because there is no way to the other side. And so I love this, that what Valerie shares here, in the process of actually birthing, Because actually, when we are breathing and pushing, there comes a time when the push becomes so painful that it feels completely counterintuitive. Why would I push towards the pain? It may even feel like a ring of fire. Why would I push toward it? Every instinct in your body will say, no, no, I want to retreat away from it. I want to go to that place that is safe and secure and that is comfortable. And yet the midwife is there saying, breathe, my love. And now push now. The idea is that pushing into the pain, pushing toward it is the only way we can pass through it. Because on the other side of the pain lies unimaginable possibilities, new lives, new worlds, new forms of liberation that is possible for us as individuals and for us as society. Let us take a look at what Valerie means about transitioning. And for Valerie, she distinguishes that it is both a noun, meaning that it is a process, and a verb, meaning that we are called to take action. So it is that fiery process that is required to move from one reality to another, to move from fear to love, to being stuck, to opening up to limitless possibilities, from moving from procrastination and brushing off your notes in that you've put aside and being willing to write the next chapter of your book and moving through to actually bringing it to be published. And it also requires us to summon all of our courage to stay for the long haul, to labor for love. And the labors of love are where we do that courageous work to bring our gifts to the world, where we dare to bring our dreams and desires into expression. And it is also laboring for justice for ourselves and justice for other individuals who are being discriminated against, who are in pain and suffering. And we stick through that even when we want to give up. And we also must call and summon up our inner wisdom, because sometimes when fear and doubt and exhaustion come up, when that I can't comes up, we are not always living from our wisdom. So we must call the wisdom that is within us. So how do we transition? How do we move from turning I can't to I can? So first, you must ask, is there any unfinished inner healing that is wanting to occur? Are there any grudges or any amends that you need to do in your life? Is there anything that you have been afraid to look at and that you're being calling to have the courage to do that? And then you ask again, have I been taking a time out? Yes, I am courageous. I am a spiritual warrior. I'm reading from Living Originally. I'm doing my prayer work. I'm reading from A Course in Miracles. I'm going to 12-step programs. I got a sponsor. Yes, but are you also taking time to breathe, to play, to have fun, to be in the stillness? And when you can answer yes to the first two, then you can proceed. And so what Valerie suggests is that you befriend your inner critic, that voice of the I can't. And so instead of making it your identity, right, you can give it a name, someone that you can speak of. And when I was doing narrative work in counseling, it was a way to create distance from you and the experience of the voice of the personality. So possibly you can call it, frightened kitty, or anxious Amy, or doubtful Dan, any name, a character that you can think of. Then you have a conversation with the inner critic. What are the fears? What is really going on inside? If you're being asked to step out in a way that you've never done before, what frightens you? What are the doubts that you have? Because there is information that the inner critic can provide for you. And then also thank it for trying to protect you. You see, that voice of the inner critic resides within the aspect of our mind called the reptilian brain and the amygdala that tries to keep us safe, but often can kick in when we're really not in danger, but it's standing in the way of moving forward. So you can say, oh, I know that you're really trying to thank me, but I'm good here. And so after befriending the critic, we are called to befriend our inner wisdom. Give it a name. Wise heart, wise owl, wise woman, wise man, guiding light. And have a conversation. Go deep within your heart and listen for the inspiration and guidance, because it is that light that will help move you forward. Then you call to have the inner wisdom, the wise heart, to befriend the inner critic, frightened kitty. And you take a deep breath. And along the journey, it is so important to ask for support. Powerfully, as they come together in community every year on the anniversary of her uncle's murder, it is a way for them to rest on each other's shoulders, to summon the support, to feel the love of community. And then when you are ready, you can resume pushing. What is the next step? The one small step that I am willing to take that is courageous, that will call me higher in my life. And my friends, it is so important along the way to honor every courageous push or act that you do, and to celebrate when there is new light and life, just as we do when a baby enters the world. And so in closing, I close with the words of Valerie. Remember that on the other side of pain lies unimaginable possibilities, new life, new worlds, new forms of liberation. And I end with a little story, The Donkey in the Well.
One day a farmer's donkey fell down into a well. The donkey cried piteously for hours as the farmer tried to figure out what to do. Finally he decided the animal was old and the well needed to be covered up anyway. It just wasn't worth it to retrieve the donkey. He invited all his neighbors to come over and help him. They all grabbed a shovel and began to shovel dirt into the well and on the donkey. At first, the donkey realized what was happening and cried horribly. Then, to everyone's amazement, he quieted down. A few shovel loads later, the farmer finally looked down the well and was astonished at what he saw. With every shovel of dirt that hit his back, the donkey was doing something amazing. He would shake it off and take a step up. As the farmer's neighbors continued to shovel dirt on top of the animal, he would shake it off and take a step up. Pretty soon everyone was amazed as the donkey stepped up over the edge of the well and trotted off. You see, life is going to shovel dirt on you, all kinds of dirt. The trick to getting out of the well is to shake it off and take a step up. Each of our troubles is a stepping stone. We can get out of the deepest wells just by not stopping, by never giving up. Shake it off and take a step up.